So welcome to Philadelphia Walks PTSD. My name is Sharon Cole or Cole, whatever you want to refer to me as, in a good way. Don't care. I've been called everything under the sun: rat, pig, horse, squirrel, hippo, rhino, dino, and lizard, which are my favorite. Dinosaur and lizard. Um, just because apparently people have all these special abilities, and I think some people are dinosaurs or lizards, or is she still sleeping? This went on way back between 2011 and 2018. So anyway, it seems like there was a whole process in place for apparently the already woke people who are woke on a very specific knowledge base, I guess. Um, uh, to self-righteously wake someone up. What's interesting is when people say they're woke, it's like, well, woke on what subject? Because we can't be omniscient. We don't know everything about every subject matter on the face of the earth. So when someone's woke, it's like, on what? The yoga thing, or the green juice thing, or the religious thing, or the this thing, or the that thing. So anyway, with that said, this is day 101 of my 365-day donor campaign raising money for a life lost, stolen, robbed, raped, tortured, death threatened, if you will, harassed, whatever. Everything kicked off the fourth Monday of January 2011 when I was made to believe I'd be murdered in my apartment by a series of orchestrated events. I didn't know people orchestrated stuff. That was so far out of my worldview, if you will, it took me many years to realize that people are actually willing to set people up. And the only setups I would know of or orchestration would be like a choreographed parade, like, oh, there's the Mummers Parade. Oh, there's these, or band front or similar things where people are choreographed in a dance routine or what have you. But it turns out people have taken orchestration and setups to a whole new level where they can scare the SHIT out of someone in their apartment, in his or her apartment, and maybe even create a private silent movie about it. That's how I felt. I actually wondered if someone saw in time, if there were hidden cameras, and I wouldn't have known because I was so terrified. For a long time, my brain had to sort of like deal with what happened. And it's like, did someone create their own little private movie? Or did someone see into my apartment or somehow can see through means other than a movie? This thing was so bad. It is ridiculous. It's like the world went into some sort of sci-fi situation. Everything was surreal. And I know that PTSD creates a feeling of surrealness. But this is an actual setup. I do wonder what people were willing to do, why they did it. But anyway, if that weren't enough, being scared to death, convulsing, unable to hold my phone, I couldn't even scream. My voice was shut down. If that weren't enough, the games commenced. And following that event, whenever I would reach out to people who I thought were newish friends in a network or people I had begun to hang out with socially, and these were healthy people who were runners, for dragon boat racing, people who volunteered with different groups in the LGBT community, they behaved in the opposite way, or they did strange things, which made the problem worse. In addition, I dragged my sister up here to Philadelphia from Delaware to walk with me for like a day and a half. And when we tried to reach out to my mom, because this all happened in the middle of the night, so I didn't want to bother my mom, who was living with my aunt. When I called my mom, what do I get? We're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. So the phone lines, the landline at my mom and aunt's house, it was really my aunt's house. My mom had moved in with her and they kind of shared resources and expenses and stuff like that. And this at the time was in Jacksonville, Florida. Somehow the phone line had been cut, and when I finally was able to reach them, my sister got the phone number to my aunt's cell phone, which was turned on since their landline wasn't working. They said, well, we noticed like yesterday that we had to call in the phone people. They said they could come today because somehow the wire was cut or severed or pulled. They figured a wild animal. They were in Florida, so they figured a raccoon or something had gotten to the line. So with that said, I will give a specific example today. I try to remember or recall certain things that contributed to the 72,000 layer cake of harassment. There were so many things going on every single day. It is impossible to completely remember or even explain everything, because some of my experiences involved a long, drawn out theme, if you will. So a theme could go on for an entire day or an entire week or even longer. It's really complicated and hard to explain. I don't know what to say. It would be like very high intel people can piece this together, or people who are actually puppeted by Satan. Like I don't know what to say, because when you experience it, it's like I'll have to call Area 51 conspiracy theorists to figure out if they know what it is. I'll have to call Coast to Coast AM and hopefully get through, because what is it? So one of the examples is, and sometimes I worry about expressing these examples, only because it really was this bad. It is so bad that there are moments when it's like nobody wants to knock me off, right? But I desperately want to be heard. I desperately want the justice I deserve. And this thing was so bad and was so set up by a lot of people, did a lot of things, that someone in this city knows that that I deserve a huge victims compensation payout. I am so not kidding. The pain and suffering, mental anguish, death threats, whistleblower-like harassment. This city is a disgrace. I'm here because I don't know where else to go. So with that said, this would be someone who waited a long time to play the game in a hard way, but we'll just go with it. I started running with a gay running group here called the Front Runners in Philadelphia. There was someone I met, a couple people who were super nice and they wanted to be supportive. They would run with me, say, hey, if you want to run on the side with me just to build up your running, great, blah, blah, blah. One of these people came along around, say, 2010 and said, he had moved to a new condo and I guess was proud of it. He's like, hey, if you want to visit and see it, so he invited me over, went up, saw it. This is on, the 20th floor. In fact, the address was 2001, which what happened in 2001? The World Trade Center towers were an issue. So his actual condo is 2001 in the Phoenix. But anyway, it's a very, it's deceiving to look at the Phoenix from the outside. I don't know about all the other condos, but he's way at the top with a big gigantic arch window looking over like a cafe across the street, which is all catty-cornered from Love Park. What's deceiving is it looks impressive, but technically his apartment is about the size of mine, and it's laid out in a certain way. In a way, it could feel smaller. The ceilings are incredibly high, so incredibly high ceilings, beautiful window. But this is someone who doesn't spend a lot of money. He's a very conscious consumer. So we'll just say, maybe he sleeps on a futon that he might have picked up at the dump, the furniture store. That's also, that's technically called the dump. So he keeps a very unusual setting, I guess, in his studio condo. So his kitchen, bedroom, living room, or dining room, they're all in the same little space. And then the bathroom is off to the side. So, but he is on the floor that leads out to the terrace. So there's a special terrace up there where people can hang out, eat, whatever, and look out over Love Park and everything else. So anyway, super nice guy. My issue is certain things happened that freaked me out. So I don't know why he did it, and he's not responding any longer. So first thing in 2010, I remember him showing this condo, and I was like, oh, this is nice. You're all the way up here. The Phoenix does feel like you're in a CIA tunnel. It's above the Suburban Station, rail line station. It's the Pennsylvania Railroad Suburban Station. That's what it says on the outside. Across from Love Park is one of the entrances. So anyway, I remember having like this dreaded feeling or some sort of feeling inside that was odd, but I knew it didn't feel good. And it's like, ooh, I hope I actually wondered, like, Watchy is like some crazy serial killer or some sort of like, what is it? What is it? So I just remember getting home and feeling so that I was like, I hope he doesn't ask me to take care of his cats because I don't know if I could be in that space again because I felt so awful there. That's what I remember thinking. I ran with him here and there, rarely, but on occasion, ran with him on the river walk and everything. As someone who was developing her running and endurance and all that stuff. Um, so flash forward to 2011, I get scared out of my apartment. I hadn't really heard from this guy or even seen him that much. I started being involved in other things like dragon boat racing, and I only ran sometimes, not all the time. So anyway, flash forward even to 2000, later in 2011 or early 2012, and I finally get an email saying, "Hey, can you take care of my cats?" I was so desperate for work that I said yes, and I never had that feeling in his apartment again. So everything seemed fine, and he seemed very nice as a person, and very gentle, and anti-violence and all that kind of stuff. He did participate in the insanity workouts, which were offered through the 12th Street Gym. The 12th Street Gym was a known neighborhood gym. It is now torn down, and they're rebuilding something else totally. I used to be a member of the 12th Street Gym, and he would do these insanity workouts. So even the insanity workout program or regime or whatever special workout thing kind of plays into what happened here, because what I experienced could drive someone totally insane. I'm so not kidding. So everything was fine, up until, I guess the last year, right? I'll say what, 2017, 18, 2016, 2016, 17. So we had the campaign year, and then 2017. And I think it was at the end of 2016 or the beginning of 2017, all of a sudden I get an email and a call, something saying, "I tried to reach you. You didn't return. You didn't." And I would see him walking outside with grocery bags, like from Trader Joe's. He is probably still a very, very, very strict vegan, big time. He eats and drinks very specific things, and he keeps himself very specifically, rigidly, in a certain state of health. So anyway, I get an email saying, "You didn't respond to me." I sent an email. I had to find another cat sitter and in the meantime, one of his cats had passed away. So before I was watching both of his cats when he would go away, then Willy Wonka passed away, and Lester was the last one remaining. So I get an email, which totally messed me up, because it's like, I didn't get an email, or I get an email saying, "I sent an email, you didn't respond, so I have to go with someone else now." Um, and I was like, "Where?" I didn't get an email. So I'm like combing through all my emails, because I didn't expect this behavior from him. But I realized he was playing into a very disturbing thing that was going on, which is how to mind F someone, drive someone crazy, hurt someone, because I was worried about losing business, because um, dog walks did start to dwindle. I let go of one client, and all of a sudden 3 other people jumped out. I let go of one client because I was tired of walking from river to river to river to river every day. It was ridiculous, uh, that I was sort of trapped in this situation. So anyway, he was one of the people who did this thing where he backed out, if you will, um, in a way that made me look like I was either irresponsible or missed his email. In a way, it made me feel like it could create this image of, "Oh, what's wrong with Sharon? She keeps missing her emails." Or, see how it could quickly form into this thing of, "Oh, well, Sharon went off the rails. She went off the skids. She's not," it could almost go down the path of people starting to think like this person's on drugs, or this person, see how it all can work into the brain. And then like 5 million people start to buy into it without knowing the facts at all. So it was a very serious thing that this happened, because I was like, "Are you kidding? I totally love the work and need the work." I actually liked going to his place because it was one of the more silent places to go and hang out with his cats, feed the cats, do the kitty litter, just sit there. And I needed that peace because of how much trauma was created. So anyway, I called him saying I didn't get the email, but he didn't respond after that. It was like he dropped me like a hot potato acting as if I irresponsibly didn't return. See how you can turn the tables and make someone look like they're bad or irresponsible or whatever. There's a specific word that I'm looking for, but that's what it does. So someone can be totally innocent, and very quickly a regime of people or people who close ranks around someone can make a very good, dependable, responsible, someone who's smarter than most people that she actually is and was paid by, look less than. The fact that I even wound up in dog walking is an issue. I don't mind it because I desperately needed the peace because of having experienced all kinds of other things in my life in general, and probably because of a takedown program. Technically, I am smarter. I am capable of doing a lot more. I'm a very professional person, and I was actually punished for being professional and a good person. Wherever I've shown up to work, bullies, jackasses, dumb people are rewarded. Every single place where I've worked, I've been disturbed and surprised who got rewarded and who got attention. If you're a good person who's basically professional and shows up to do a job, you actually will not be rewarded in today's society. I'm sorry to send this negative message, unless it's a special program or track that people wind up on. So wherever I would find a job, I would not show up. I would not be hired by people who prize good people. They prize bullies. It is disturbing that we could possibly live in a world today where jackasses are rewarded. People who lie, cheat, steal, hurt, rape, traumatize, violate, abuse, they are rewarded. If you are actually basically a good person who's actually there thinking you're just, you're willing to do the job and whatever it takes without hurting people. I actually think that's true in today's society. I'm so not kidding. At least the track that I wound up on, or I wonder if like the CIA puts people on these certain paths, and as much as I try to find a good work environment, I wouldn't be able to find it. So even dog walking turned out to be a place where, good people, let's have fun with this one because she's a good person. So point being, all of a sudden this one person who I kind of trusted other than the first visit where it's like my body started to feel icky, and I think they can put it on from a distance. And it's in the realm of death, depression. I don't know what to call it because I've experienced in my lifetime, not like feeling depressed or not knowing like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I don't know how to function today. I actually think it can be put on people by higher level individuals who, how do they do it? So just the best theory that I can come up with is, witchcraft, but say witchcraft involves harnessing energy or sending vibes in someone's direction. If you're targeted by this, you're going to have a harder time in life. I don't know what to say, but long story short, this guy was willing, after 6 years of being, a beautiful, lovely person, myself, and even I saw him as a very good person, maybe slightly odd, but that's normal, particularly in the gay neighborhood. No offense, but it is a catch-all, I guess. Wink, wink. But it is a place where people seek out acceptance because the regular status quo world doesn't accept people who are maybe different than everybody else. So he was slightly unusual, but it's more like a borderline eccentric, works for a university, Havertown, I believe, and so forth and so on. So anyway, but after all those years, and then to start to worry that a whole bunch of people were willing to conspire to possibly make a larger community, or to, sort of create this idea like, oh, Sharon, gosh, she really they could practically make it seem like someone's up in Kensington shooting up drugs, or she's off the rails, or it kind of goes into that. It's hard to explain. It goes into this weird wormhole thing. It's disturbing that I'm down here trying to earn a living through dog walking, while there are people up there who are capable of things that are technically multi-million dollar things. It is disturbing that I have to try to sit here and explain something that people won't truly deeply understand unless it were actually done to them. They can, people very high level can help your brain understand how scary it is for someone to be forced into homelessness and then to worry about everyone thinking like, oh, she must have gone off the deep end. She must have been, it becomes this whole thing and really hard to explain because the entire body has reactions. So anyway, with that said, that's one of the games that many people played. I respect absolutely not one of my clients from 2011 to 2018. I cannot believe what these people were willing to do. And these people have money and they get to appear smarter, better, intelligent, have more things, have a condo in the sky. And if people knew what the Phoenix looked like inside, there is some truth that there's a lot of darkness out there looking good from the outside. Philly is a very disturbing city. And a lot of people who participated in this, I don't know what to say. You could pay the price someday. I don't care. So these people did not care at all, at all. They couldn't wait to play the game. So wherever I've worked, bullies, jackasses, dumb people who are less than me, and I know they are less, got rewarded. Is this the America we want to live in today? Or is America ever going to grow up and be better?